Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. American Pickers responds to Tennessee renovation backlash. American Pickers star Mike Wolfe has been working on some serious renovations in a small Tennessee town. However, while his entire intention is to improve something, some people in the town are against his work there. While the rumblings are growing, Wolfe has responded with a photo. Here is what Mike is doing and why the community is reacting the way it is. Mike Wolfe making big renovations in small Tennessee town. Mike Wolfe has been doing home renovations in his home in Columbia, Tennessee, but it has received a lot of backlash lately. Wolfe bought the 3,166 square foot home in 2022 for $700,000. Since then, he has been putting a lot of money into renovating it. The brick home has 3 bathrooms, a wooden deck, a detached carport, a cabana, a utility building, a basement, and more. Mike waited 2 years after buying it to renovate it, and he has invested $1 million in the home so far. Mike extended the entrance into a turret, like one seen in a castle. However, the town's residents are divided over the renovations and changes. Mike also bought a 2-lanes vacation rental and bike shop. He also bought another property for $400,000. It's kind of interesting because a lot of people don't want change and some people do, so we're in that flux, a town source said via the US Sun. The town is changing rapidly. They added that many people don't like the changes, but others see the economic boost Mike's additions will bring. American Pickers Mike Wolfe responds with photos. Mike Wolfe doesn't seem disturbed by the controversy. After the news hit about the controversy around Columbia, Wolfe responded with a photo of him sitting on the front porch during renovations. In the caption, he wrote, "Done enough to feel the vibes." While Mike is spending lots of time renovating his home and building up areas around Columbia, he is also working on the next season of American Pickers. He has already finished the upcoming season, which premieres in October. However, Jersey John said they are shooting more, which would be for the next season after this upcoming one. Mike signed a deal to make at least 3 more seasons of American Pickers, with the first coming in October. They'd wrapped filming on that in July. With the rapid shooting schedule, there is a good chance they will go back to 2 seasons a year in 2025, and if ratings improve, who knows how much longer it could go. It was a calm evening in LeClaire, Iowa, where Mike Wolfe and his team finally had a rare night off. As the star of American Pickers, Mike had grown used to the challenges of scouring America's forgotten places for lost treasures, but recently the show's focus on their recent Tennessee renovation had been met with some heated backlash. They transformed an old, dilapidated property in Tennessee, hoping to turn it into a local attraction that would breathe new life into the surrounding area. But the reaction from the community was a far cry from what they had expected. Seated around a table at Antique Archaeology, Mike and Robbie Wolfe, along with Danielle Colby, pored over a mix of angry social media comments, local news clippings, and emails. Despite the criticism, they believed in the project. The old building in Tennessee was originally a near-abandoned structure on the brink of collapse, its history and character barely visible beneath layers of grime and disrepair. To the Wolfe brothers, this wasn't just any project, it was a chance to restore a piece of American heritage, one they felt deserved to be saved from obscurity. But the locals weren't exactly seeing it that way. Comments like "These pickers are picking our town apart," and "They're turning our history into a tourist trap," were starting to dominate the local discourse. It was clear that some residents felt the new American Pickers site in Tennessee would disrupt the area's character rather than enhance it. A petition was even circulating to halt further developments and force the show to preserve more of the town's original charm. "Man, it's like we can't win here," Robbie said, tossing another newspaper onto the pile. "We saved that building from falling into pieces, and now people are mad we even touched it." Danielle, ever the voice of reason, glanced up from her phone. "I think they just don't understand what we're doing. To them it looks like we're storming in and trying to make a quick buck. But this place, it's about so much more than money." Mike nodded, his fingers tracing the edges of an old photograph of the building as it had been. He could still see the boarded-up windows, the cracked foundation, the memories nearly lost to time. This wasn't just another project, it was a symbol of his lifelong passion for bringing the past back to life. Then maybe that's what we need to do, he said, his voice steady but contemplative. We need to help them see what we see. This place isn't just a renovation, it's a rebirth. The next day, Mike decided to address the controversy directly. The team organized an open house for the locals, inviting them to see the site, share their concerns, and discuss the vision behind the renovation. Mike wanted people to understand that this was not a slick, commercialized tourist trap, but a heartfelt attempt to honor the history and spirit of the place. When the day arrived, a sizable crowd had gathered at the building site. People approached cautiously, some clearly skeptical, others curious. There were familiar faces from the local community as well as fans who had come from surrounding areas. Mike, Robbie, and Danielle greeted each person warmly, treating them as they would any potential pick, with respect, enthusiasm, and a desire to uncover the stories that connected them to this place. Mike began with a short speech, his voice carrying through the old walls. I know some of you might feel like we're outsiders coming in, trying to change things, he said, looking around at the faces of the townspeople. But the truth is, we're not here to change your town, we're here to celebrate it. He explained the history of the building, how it had been a centerpiece of the town over a century ago. This place was built by your ancestors, the ones who poured their blood, sweat, and tears into making a life here. Mike continued. And while some might see a broken-down old building, I see the heart of your town, a part of its soul that we wanted to keep alive. Robbie stepped in next, showing the crowd the lengths they'd gone to preserve the building's original materials. The bricks were sourced from nearby sites, the wood was refinished and reused, and the layout had stayed true to its historical blueprint. Every corner of this place has something old in it. We didn't come in to tear it down, we came in to build it back up, using the same bones that were already here. The open house transformed into an impromptu queue and a session. Locals voiced concerns about noise, parking, and the inevitable influx of visitors the renovation might bring. Others questioned whether this new landmark would drive up property prices and create financial strain. But each time Mike, Robbie, and Danielle responded with understanding and transparency, explaining how they planned to work with the community to manage the impact. One elderly woman stepped forward, her face creased with a mix of anger and sorrow. I watched this building fall apart over the years. It was my father's favorite place in town, she said, her voice breaking slightly. But now, looking at what you've done, it almost looks just like it used to. She wiped her eyes and the crowd fell silent. The sentiment began to sink in. For many, the building had been a symbol of decay, a reminder of better days gone by. And now, with its original charm restored, it became a symbol of resilience and renewal. Later that night, after the locals had gone, Mike, Robbie, and Danielle sat down, exhausted but deeply fulfilled. The initial backlash, which had felt so overwhelming just days before, now seemed like an opportunity to connect more deeply with the people whose heritage they were preserving. I think today was a good day, Robbie said, slumping into a chair with a relieved sigh. Mike nodded, gazing thoughtfully at the freshly restored walls around them. Yeah, and maybe they're right to be protective of this place. If they didn't care, it wouldn't mean as much when we save it. As they sat there, surrounded by the echoes of the building's history, they felt not only the weight of the past but also the hope of a brighter future. Their journey as pickers wasn't just about finding relics, it was about preserving the stories and souls of places like this. The Tennessee Project had evolved from a renovation into a reconciliation, a place where history could coexist with progress, where memories of the past would forever echo through the walls of a building that now finally had a second chance.